I found out how much of my pay was going to the company and how little was going to him. So a couple months in, it was heartbreaking. Good things happen when you extend kindness first in life, personal or business, I've just noticed, and it just creates a different level of depth and a different ripple. So, sometimes you might get burned, but I'd rather be kind first and take that chance because I've seen way more upside to it. So, my relationship with my aunt was really the catalyst to not feeling like Elle Woods. Like, do you think she woke up one day and decided to go to law school? I woke up, I was like, I think I'll start a national charity event. That sounds easy.
Have you ever hired a virtual assistant and unfortunately had to let them go? Or in the position of you're about to hire somebody, you just don't know the next right step or how to train them or what to have them to do? If so, this episode, it's for you. Jennifer Anderson talks about all of that: how to approach hiring somebody, how to train them, how to think about their position, and how to incentivize them to really want to stay with you long term and do an amazing job in the process. So stay tuned for all that. She shares tons of great little nuggets. And in addition to, if you enjoy this episode, special thanks goes to Andy Bovinder. He's the sponsor of today's episode. He's also the founder of the Bovinder team out of the Carolinas. His team, they've done more than 5,000 transactions in the Carolina area. So if you have that client who's been thinking about making a move to or from, trust me, they are the folks to call. If you want to hang out with Jennifer or Andy or any of the other amazing guests that you've heard on these episodes, scroll down to the description below and click on the link for the Inner Circle group. It's a group that meets 2 times a month, and we talk shop. We share best practices, good ideas, new habits, ways to train people, and of course, referrals. So if you're curious to learn more about that and join the waitlist, click that link. And as always, I'm your host and referral partner out of San Francisco, Sean Kunkler. What's the one thing you do with your virtual assistants that you feel separates you from everybody else?
I've worked really hard to make sure the virtual assistant team that I have is really like family. So when we work together, we spend a lot of time on what are their goals and objectives, and how can I create a commitment with them and my business to feel like it's their own business. So by understanding what they value,
Yeah.
whether that be within work or outside of work, how we're going to work together and collaborate. We have
Hmm.
a really deep relationship and friendship, and a very accountable one. Charles is his name. He says, it's not my business, but I treat it like mine, and I appreciate that you treat my family like, business in your mind. So we really have a deep relationship, and I think that's very atypical when you hear about other people's relationship with their VA. But there's a lot of trust, there's a lot of collaboration, and there's a lot of depth in it on both a business and a personal level.
I really appreciate that. That's such a refreshing way to look at it rather than people get into that turn and burn mentality. And
Mm-hmm.
you're obviously taking a radically different approach to it where you're setting them up for success where they set you up for success. And they feel vested. Like Charles, just in the vocabulary there, he feels vested in your best interest. So he wants to do his best job.
Yeah, and when we were getting to know each other, we talked about that as the VA culture, especially in the Philippines, they expect to be replaced. They might get noticed just when they come in that day. So they don't
Yeah.
feel like an integrated part of the business. And that was something I communicated early on and asked if it was something he'd be excited about. And he just has shared a lot about culturally, that's a very rare opportunity.
Yeah.
And from that, it's created a space where he's got a lot more curiosity and commitment, and
Good.
he's willing to turn over those extra pebbles to problem solve, whether it be a time of like high negotiation paperwork turnaround, where I'm needing him to do some forms real quickly and then toggle back to a past client event. He's very committed as if it's his own because of that loyalty that we've created and that foundation of trust. So it's been pretty cool to see, actually.
That is really cool and very interesting. I mean, VAs, 3, maybe 6 months is
Mhm.
usually the shelf life, and then the agents in my experience from talking to so many agents is they work with somebody, they don't do what you did, they don't take the time to really train them. They expect a mind reader, the person doesn't read their mind, the agent has a bad day, they fire them, and then they
Mhm.
go and basically find somebody else, and there's no training, there's no leadership, there's no management, there's no like, none of that other stuff, they just there's a lot of assumptions, sadly, and so
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people shy away from using a VA is they
yeah,
didn't take the time to create the playbook and the systems and the processes where the VA would have the tools to be successful.
yeah,
So yeah, it takes a lot more work in the beginning, but the amount of free time, autonomy, space I have to spend time with my clients because of that has paid dividends. But it's definitely something I would recommend people make sure they have the time to invest in the beginning if they really want to see it be successful for the long haul.
and I know you have 2 VAs, let's talk about Charles, just because you brought his name up first, how long has he been with you?
Like 2 years and 4 months.
Oh, that's
So
I mean, that's a really long run for VAs.
yeah, it took me a while to find him, but once I found
Yeah,
him, it was like it was a great match, so
yeah. I mean, it's not dissimilar from, like, finding a life partner, right? It's like,
Mhm.
you take the time, you go on dates, you ask questions, you go through this process, and then when you find that right match, then you invest the time. But I find that people don't do that step either. It's like, "I need a VA." "You're a VA? Great, let's work together." And then it starts off on a weird foot.
Yeah, I would agree with that. A lot of people aren't clear how they wanna use the VA, what the
Yeah,
VA would need to have in their skill set to be successful. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm just gonna use them for social media," but culturally, how are they gonna know how to market an asset? Or, like,
yeah,
what type of connections do you want them to make? So, it really helps when you as the leader are really
yeah,
clear on the role, and then how are you gonna grow them? How are you gonna ask them in a way that
yeah.
like, what are their skills? Where are the gaps? And create that trust where they feel they can be transparent about it too.
It's funny you bring up that because it drives me crazy is an agent, you hear it all the time. Oh, I want a VA to do my social media. And you're like, great. How is your current social media currently? Well, it's abysmal. I don't know anything about it. And you're like, okay, so you magically want somebody with zero structure, zero system, zero lead to follow, create something out of thin air, hope that it's on brand with your expectations, and grow it.
Yeah, they're not gonna
Like,
win. There's
they're
no
not
chance
gonna
of succeeding in that.
it's 0, like, I'm pretty knowledgeable of this stuff, and if I had that little of guidance, I would crash and burn. It's just there's no, it I don't know, I don't it just it's wild to me, and it kinda drives me crazy that I think in this business, and especially with the way that we operate, and especially when things like our brand is us, and it's so high touch, we as agents should develop an understanding of that thing first.
Mhm.
Have an idea and clarity specifically around it, and then start building out your systems. Like, what is the cadence? What are your expectations? Um, it's it seems basic to me, but I get it. If you've never done that, it's not.
Yeah. And when I was in interviewing like mode, I told Charles, I'm looking for the long haul, like the long-term relationship. I want to work with you until I retire. Like this is not a short term. And like if you're not interested in a long-term position, that also probably won't be a fit. But I'd like to build this together and I would like it to be something that we continue to grow on past experiences. I don't want turnover. It impacts my personal life. It impacts my client's life. Anytime someone changes a job, whether you're the employer or the employee, it's hard. Like there's the learning curve. So if we can create a culture within how we work together that is thriving and supportive while also being productive, like it saves everyone a lot of heartache.
It really does. And again, it's like you both are starting on the same foot and you're starting at the same pace. Like you're both walking literally in the same direction, knowing the road ahead. And then you can, I feel like it frees up a lot of the conversations and
Mhm.
it clears up a lot of the miscommunications that can potentially go along the way. So, aside from really taking the time to do a thorough interview process, let's say you do find that Charles in the haystack. What's in your findings? What are the first few projects you should be considering them for? I don't want to say putting them on or having them work on because you want to train them and you want to create the systems and process for it. But what is that future task that they're going to be doing?
I'd be willing to bet the hardest part of your day isn't the work. It's the mental load, it's the decision fatigue, it's the shuffling of priorities while you're already playing catch up. You're checking off things from your to do list just as fast as they're getting added. And I'd also be willing to bet some of those meaningful business relationships you've had in the past have begun to fade. Ace Your Day is a physical deck of 52 strategic cards designed to halt fatigue. Refined by real world results, this system replaces chaos of a to do list with a curated set of high impact actions. It's simple: set a timer for 15 minutes, draw a card, and make your move. The deck handles the thinking, you drive the business. Building a secure business should not be a guessing game. Let's stop overthinking the day and trust a system that prioritizes connections and relationships. Let the deck handle the strategy, you focus on the results. Click the link in the description to reclaim your day 15 minutes at a time.
So when I found him, the things that resonated with me for my business, he had been high up in a at Amex on the platinum like concierge. So he was already very well trained when it came to customer service, handling, any sort of relationship issue. And he's like, your relationships don't have issues. I'm like, that's because we're proactive. Um, we don't leave people to sit and stew and then be like, explosive. Um, so I had someone that came from a high empathy role and conflict resolution. And then I also was looking for someone that had a fair amount of curiosity. So not someone that was interested in the A to B task, but like the why behind it. And so the interview process actually had a fair amount of like buckets that he would go through so that I could understand naturally where was he strongest because he knew nothing about real estate and I had to teach him everything about real estate. So I was looking for the core competencies in him as a human and how he's going to show up to stuff. And
Yeah.
I catered it around where he already had his strengths. I did have a whole list of all the things eventually I'd want him to do, but it was really an understanding where he was already naturally shining that we started to approach it. And I think that came from being dyslexic. I struggled to get through the entire school system, and people would allow me workarounds to get to the end result that I needed to do to pass a class. And so I wasn't looking at his onboarding or training process as a strict, like linear approach. It was, okay, let's conquer this. Let's try tackling and adding this in. But I was slow in making sure the accuracy was there first because I didn't want to compromise my relationship with my clients and have them feel like they didn't have someone strong in the role.
Yeah.
And now he's so strong, they're like, "I'll just call Charles because 'cause he'll probably know this." You probably don't. I'm like, "Fair, that's fair." He is the keeper of all the details. He has all the files, all things. So it's a cool transition when you've taken someone from not knowing anything about real estate, but
Yeah.
they were able to understand the process and in a way that they ask good questions, and I was that detailed coming back at him that he can be that strong in his role. And I also set that from the beginning. I said, I'm a people person, I'm an idea person. If you force me into a role of like doing the same task each time, I can do it, but I'm not the final attention to detail. And
Yeah.
he's like, I love detail. I'm like, yes. So
That's who you want.
I am like, we need
Yeah.
to be opposites and our Venn diagrams need
100%.
to intersect. So
I
yeah.
I I love that you said that too because I always cringe when like two agents they're like, "Oh, we partnered up." And you're like, "Why'd you partner up?" "Oh, so we could do more business." And you're like, yeah, but you guys are both the same. Like you both have the same attributes, which means you probably both have the same weaknesses. And so who's filling the gap? And so I love
Yeah.
that you literally found the opposite. Who's
Mhm.
he I always say, like, I'm out there making the mess. Somebody loves running behind cleaning it all up.
It's like
And that's
Wally, you know?
yeah. I'll fix it.
Yeah, and we do a ton of, like, video recordings, so the assistant that I had previously, she was with
Yeah.
me for 4 years, and before she was leaving, all of our systems and processes, she did video recordings, we had it documented, so anyone that's coming in to help, they have a
Mhm.
95% chance of being successful knowing nothing about real estate. They could watch a video, they can read our systems and processes, and what we get to when we're talking and training is the why behind it. Why do you do this thing? And if that's not exactly the same outcome, because real estate is never exactly the same, what
Right.
are the things you need to think about on the end result? And like, what are we trying to accomplish ultimately?
That is definitely the hardest thing to train. And I appreciate what you said where you look for, like, who their character is to then figure out those pieces because yeah, it's like I'm thinking about we have a 107 step listing process, but it's not 1 through 107. It's like you go to 1, you go to 60, you jump back up to 28, you're down to 82. It's like all over the map at any given
Mhm.
time. In the person managing that, there has to be a level of experience, confidence, and intuition to know, like, where all these balls are. It's like playing chess. It's like,
Mhm.
well, when all these pieces have moved a certain way, you now have to watch all these other pieces, and they are already that one step ahead. And so that's thus why the training does take so long and where the patience has to come in. And mistakes are going to happen. And that's where the communication and getting on the same page, you have to slow everything down to go fast.
Hey, friends, I have a small favor to ask. For me to continue to bring you outstanding guests who share their best kept secrets for growing a successful real estate business, please take a moment and hit that like button so agents like you can find this content. And also hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Now, back to our show.
Yeah, and I found out early on, so I used a third-party system to get paired with him, and I found out how much of my pay was going to the company and how little was going to him. So, a couple months in, it was heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking and infuriating just
Mhm.
how aggressive those companies are, and it's shitty, to be honest.
Yeah, and so I said, "I'll buy you out of the contract, I believe in you," um, and that's where we had our second long-term commitment conversation. Because I mean, he lives in another country, he could just walk away, and, what I did to help, expedite the learning curve was I created financial incentive. I said, "I'll buy you out of the contract, I'll cover the majority of that buyout. You have to have a little skin in the game, so, like, your hourly rate will go up as you get more competency, and we'll call that kinda like paying back a portion of the buyout." Um, but I gave him a roadway to, make more than I was paying the company because I saw the value in him. And so he was like a little sponge. And so that I definitely created the financial incentive because I think a lot of people, if they want to do good at their job, they also want to be paid well. And the culture should be there too, but they want the security, in their socioeconomic position. So that was another thing outside of those feel good components. There was financial incentive to accelerate his mastery.
If you don't have the financial comfort, it's you can't show up 100%. Like, if you're just stressing out and it's and not to belabor the point, but some of those contract companies just, they shouldn't exist. It's ruthless, and I really appreciate that you just were like, we'll take care of it. We'll figure it out," and brought them under your wing, which I think is just a far more ethical way to approach it.
Good things happen when you extend kindness first in life. personal or business, I've just noticed, and it just creates a different level of depth and a different ripple. So, sometimes you might get burned, but I'd rather be kind first and take that chance because I've seen way more upside to it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm yes, I'm reflecting on my own life and my own experiences and when somebody's given me grace as well. And it means a lot. And those it improves everybody's world, which I think is
mhm.
that's the end of the day. It's like we're all in this craziness together. We might as well be a little kind to each other.
Yeah. And I think when you have that foundation, people want to work harder. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the kindness, the financial incentive, having everything systematized, having videos so they can watch and see how it all works,
Yeah.
and it's just given them a little time to get there. And I've been pleasantly surprised with both Charles and Kirby and how they've really figured out something. I mean, how hard would it be if we did roles reversed, us trying to figure out how to do a different line of business in a second
Yeah.
language?
It's true. From literally the other side of the globe with different constraints. It's true. It's when you again, you reflect from somebody else's position, point of view, it's radically different. In On a separate note, I have a virtual assistant who does the podcast, who does all the editing and components. And one day it clicked for me of like, oh, I'll just make a video of instead of me trying to articulate this in an email with like screenshots, I just made like a 5-minute video. And I was like, for me, the light bulb was like, poof. I'm like, this was way easier. Why didn't I
Yeah.
do this sooner?
Well, and also as you're trying to train up your VA, it's how you can get back in the field faster. If you've recorded a lot of stuff, they can problem solve a fair amount without needing to ping you again, and they can build their own confidence at their own pace. If they have to watch the video 3 times, they don't feel silly that they had to ask you the same question. They could take the time to watch it. So yeah, the
And
video
that's
is
a great
great. It's
point.
liberating, isn't it?
It totally and it's a far underutilized tool in the business.
Mhm.
It's super easy. Like, I just create a fake Google meeting with myself, go into it, hit record, film it, it sends it to me, I forward it, I'm done. Like, it's super easy. It's really incredibly fast. But you can say so much more with words or show, like, draw a circle around something and be like, "Hey, this thing, we need to update this, blah, blah, blah," and you walk them through. I think the other thing too, and I would love to hear your opinion on it, is so I heard a quote years ago, and I love this quote. It's life is about doing dangerous things safely so we can grow. And an example of that is like skateboarding is inherently dangerous. But if you wear pads and a helmet, you're doing the dangerous thing, but you're doing it safe. And now you're learning. And same with skiing or a motorcycle, whatever it may be. And so in this arena, to help, like, let's say my VA get up to speed, we just set thresholds of basically, like, don't do this thing until you have the previous approvals. So then you can do the dangerous thing in a safe way. Like, you can go to town and create a newsletter and create it any way you want. Just don't send it until I have a chance to look at it and for us to talk about it. So now you can be as dangerous as you want. I don't care. Like, try something new. Tell me why you wanted to try that. And then the only risk is we invested some time in it. And then you and I had to have a conversation and then we got on the same page, but it never went anywhere. It never hit send. The client never saw it. And so there's no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Is I'm curious how you've done or approached things like that.
So definitely this first 6 months there was a lot of hand holding and like bring the product, let's review it, let's still send it together, let's talk about like after every meeting I would make time for like a recap of like what did you learn in that phone call? What
Mm,
questions do you have? But there wasn't much that was done without my like me being the final stamp of approval. And then we slowly transitioned as there were less and less mistakes.
yeah.
Um, through that into him being, like, pretty much the leader. I would say he leads the back office now. But
Wow.
I think the financial component helped to create the accuracy. So those in tandem, the videos, the processes being documented, us meeting after meetings, us meeting after he created something, talking about what would be better, even if it was just in communicating to clients. How do we want that tone to sound?
Yeah.
And so it was just a number of times at bat that there were that once I looked for his confidence too, because what I found is that
Yeah.
I saw his accuracy was there before he was confident. So I had more of my hands on things a little bit longer than I would have chosen to because I could see he didn't have the confidence. And I know how that feels when I'm
Ah.
not confident. I might make a silly mistake because I'm like, oh no, I just get in my own head. So
Yeah.
there was that transparency in our communication that he's like, I'm not ready to go do that yet. I'd like you to still look at this again.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that would necessarily happen with most BAs if I hadn't created the foundation of I want you to work with me and like us to be a team until I
Yeah.
retire.
Yeah. It's interesting. It sounds like you just created a safe space where he felt comfortable saying, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable or confident in this." Because otherwise, they would put on a false facade, send it, and then get berated for making the mistake or fired.
Right.
But, like, forcing it's basically, like, preemptively forcing the whole chain of events because
Mhm.
they didn't have that, like, "Hey, Jennifer, I'm not ready to do this. Can you look at give it a once over?"
I mean, I literally had to coach him and be like, "You're good. Like, I trust you." He's like, "I don't know." And now he's like, "No, we're not." He's like, "I know how to do this now. Trust me, this will be faster if we do it that way." And I told him, I said, "One day this will switch from you wanting me to double check stuff to you saying, 'No, I know how to do this. I'll get this out in 5 minutes. It will be better than what you're expecting.'" But that was a hard tipping point for me as a person that's a doer. I'm like, "Okay, you're ready. Let's go." But I think had I pushed him out of the nest too soon, he might not have wanted to stay in the role too. So it is a balance of hearing each other on where the comfort level is.
Yeah, there's like, I have 2 boys, and they're both in college, and there's a level of, like, pushing, but then being patient for them to receive the push. And but you can't just push all the time, and you can't not push. Like, to your point, there is a dance that needs to happen, and you have to you just have to read the room and wait for it. But also not dissimilar. I was reflecting on my early days as a real estate agent. Just because I had a license and I closed a couple deals, I remember it took probably a good 2 years in, and so, like, one day I was like, "Oh, I'm a real estate agent now."
I'm
Like
doing it.
like, I it finally, like, it caught up to me, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I got this." And so I get it, like, I get it from Charles's perspective of, like, the people around you see what you're doing and see that you're doing it correctly, but you don't see it yet for yourself. And you got to have the right team. Like Charles has a good team around him. And you need that.
Yeah. I think it's such a missed opportunity. I mean, we could change their lives significantly. And when you think about, or at least for me, what I was running into in the United States was they either wanted to move into an agent role or they just didn't want to be in a support role. Like, I think culturally, support roles aren't as cool in the United States. Like, that's not a career path that someone craves. And there's an opportunity to move them into an upper class lifestyle. And so it is a true career path. It is something to be proud of. So to me, I just don't understand why it's not more regularly utilized when there's such a win-win naturally out there. Um, it, you know, but
It's curious. I've never thought of it from l- on like a global level, but there is
mhm.
this weird pressure in our industry. Like if you're working in the industry, you need to elevate to be an agent. And then if you're an agent, you need to get to a certain level, then build a team. And then if and there's like all these like pressures that they don't exist. And it's like, hold on, maybe you love just being support and you love being behind the scenes. That's cool. Do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's, like, this weird pressure that that's not like everybody's got to be the lead singer. No one wants to play bass. It's like no, that's a needed role also. Not I'm not throwing shade on bass. It was just an example. Um, but whereas, and I do know this, the Philippines is a hospitality culture. Like
Mhm.
there's more people in hospitality from that specific spot in the world than anywhere else.
Oh, the kindness and the culture is just uh, it blows my mind. It's just a perfect mix of so many other cultures, but just the heart behind the Filipino culture is so warm and it's reliable and it's consistent and it's really beautiful. Like, it's an awesome culture. We should emulate more of the Filipino culture here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've lost culturally, we've lost something. Just kindness, just being a little bit nicer to people, even if they don't agree with your whatever politics or views or whatever. Just be kind.
Mhm.
We don't
Baseline. Low
just be
bar in
kind.
theory.
Like, we don't have to agree on everything, but we can also just be civil and kind to
Nice,
each
yeah.
other.
Mhm.
Like, and I think the other thing, and this is my rant on a different topic, is like, I think if we just approach anything with curiosity,
Mhm.
it brings kindness because like, you can't be curious and angry. Like it's really hard to be, but it's like, oh, that's really curious. I'm like, how did you arrive there? Or I like I'm curious of like what led you to that belief or that thought or blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And then when you seek first to understand, you then sometimes, oh, that makes sense. Now the dots connect of how you arrived there. And then
Mhm.
you just learn more about each other.
Yep.
But if you haven't been to the Philippines, highly recommend it. It's
It is
pretty
on my
incredible.
list, yes.
And it's I was just thinking like y- 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 it's so different. Like when you pull up to the hotel, they open the door for you. You don't touch any doors. I don't remember touching a door when I was in the Philippines. And I didn't even touch the elevator button. And then they thank you everywhere you go. Like,
Mhm.
they thank you for being there, and it's just like it's such it just feels nice. And you're like, "Wow, this is really cool." Like, everybody's
Mhm.
very attentive and thanking me, and very appreciative, and it's just a very nice experience. 100% worth going.
I can't wait to go. It's on my high on my list.
Well, do it. Make it happen.
Just do it, yeah.
Just do it. You have support, you can go and keep the business running. I actually I wanna talk about your philanthropic endeavors because, well, 1, they're incredibly massive, and 2, I know you can't do it by yourself, and so you're doing that with help and leverage. But tell us more, talk to me a little bit more about that, and then I kinda wanna, like, peel back some of the layers.
Yeah, so we're in our 3rd year. The event is called Agents Against Cancer, but I also am really heavily involved here within San Diego County too with the food bank. But just giving back is something that speaks to me. I wanted to help other people to find a way that they could give back too. And so cancer is something that runs in my family, and my aunt had been with the American Cancer Society since she was 21 and was about to retire a couple of years ago. And I would go to her event, Coaches versus Cancer, that would raise like 2 million in an evening. And I was looking around in the room and she was about to retire, and I would say a lot of the people attending were probably not going to be continuing to attend. And I'm thinking, okay, I like finding a cause. I like bringing people together. I like making an impact in like on a one-on-one level and on a larger scale, but I just don't have the confidence to go do that. And what would that look like? And my relationship with my aunt was really the catalyst to not feeling like Elle Woods. Like, do you think she woke up one day and decided to go to law school? I woke up, I was like, I think I'll start a national charity event. That sounds easy. But she came alongside me and taught me a lot about the back office, hooked me up with the American Cancer Society with some staff members in there that have given a lot of coaching. But it was just an idea that really is gained far more momentum than I would have ever expected. Like in our third year, we're renting the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago. We are going to do a formal gala there. We're also going to do a 3-day golf event in New Jersey at a high-end private club that we've got someone who already wanted to underwrite the whole thing and sponsor because they love the cause. So um,
Incredible.
it's been really cool to see. And I think the reason it's been successful is just because I'm organized.
Good.
It's not my event, it's everyone's event, and we move it around each year, and different agents in parts of the country get to be the hosts, and they get
Mm,
to make decisions on what that event is gonna look like in that year and how they want it to go. And it also helps us to get a really engaged committee because they know that their ideas and contributions are not only gonna be seen and heard, but they're gonna be implemented. So
yeah.
um, it's just been a ton of fun, and it's really cool, like, we've already raised almost what we raised last year before we've started fundraising, like, the snowball is just it's I
And
don't even know what to say other than wow.
That's
So
unbelievable in just 3 years, which is,
mhm.
like, that's unheard of. That's unbelievable. Good on you. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm impressed at the level of venues that you're already
Oh, I know,
renting out. I mean, because you have to also bring people in and get them.
excited
Wow.
about it.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
we
Yeah.
are shocked as well, but, it's the people that are on the committee, it's the people that want to give back, and what I found within the agent community, there's so many people that want to give back, and they maybe just didn't have that place, and
Yeah.
so it's the friendships that have come from this, the things I've learned from other people, it's just been it's been magical.
Well, and I would imagine, I mean, similar to you, you wanted to do it and you wanted to be a part of it, but you just didn't know. And so you leaned on your aunt and she brought you under her wing and got you up to speed. And now you're doing the same thing for those agents who they want to be a part of something. They want to do it. They just don't, they need that friend. They need that person to be like, here, come with me. This is how you do it. I got you. And that's your snowball effect, which is you're paying it forward and multiplying it. Incredible.
Yeah, it's been very cool to see, and I've learned more than I would have ever thought about not only nonprofits, but just about what drives people and where their
Yeah.
heart's at. So it's been very fulfilling.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think everybody is if you haven't had somebody impacted by cancer, it's unfortunately you will, and it sucks.
Yeah, it's a
And
hard
so
one, to say the
it's a
very least.
it's brutal. It's definitely brutal. Um yeah, so I appreciate that you're putting those effort forward for everybody collectively to hopefully find a cure at some point for it.
Mhm. Yeah, if we just none of us had to hear the words like, "I have cancer, I know someone who has cancer," that would be it would change things a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, it really would. Um, if somebody wants to contribute or donate, what's the best way for them to come find you?
That's a great question. So we have a website. It's agentsagainstcancer.com. We
Mm,
also have social media like Instagram and LinkedIn, but the website's the best way. Or just
right.
reaching out to me directly by phone or email, and I can put. Is it better to share it now or just put it in the chat?
You can share it verbally, and I will make sure it's in the description. And then, additionally, I'll make sure that it gets spread with all of the marketing collateral that goes out.
Yeah, so team@andersoncoastal.com is the best email to go through, and then 858-524-3077. So
There you
Um,
go.
we'd love to have anyone that wants to help and wants to make a nice set of community friendships, and it's just a ton of fun. So,
And I will just remind agents if you make a donation, talk to your accountant. It's a write off.
mhm,
Totally
it
worth it
is.
if you need to offset some of your expenses this year, which if you're listening to this, you're in the top percent, make a donation.
Yeah, two birds, one stone.
Exactly. Jennifer, this was awesome and just such a refreshing way to look at all of this, the entire business. And I genuinely I appreciate the way that you think about it and have implemented it into your own.
Well, I'm glad I was able to share, and I'm always an open book. So if there's ever anyone that has direct questions, I hope they don't hesitate to reach out. Whatever I've learned, it's only because people have stood in support of me and helped me and been there. So, it's
Nice.
always good to pay it forward.
Exactly. And that, my friend, that's a wrap.